He was hungry, broken, and humiliated. A black man, sitting on the streets with an empty bowl, ignored by the world that mocked his very existence. Every tear was a reminder of hunger. Every laugh directed at him cut deeper than the pain in his stomach. And then came the day that shattered him completely. The day he buried his only son. What followed was not just mourning, but a transformation no one could have predicted. This is the story of a man the world laughed at until he rose to become a millionaire. His name was Samuel. Once a hard-working factory hand, he lost everything when the factory closed and layoffs swept through his town. With no savings, no powerful connections, and no safety net, Samuel was pushed onto the streets. Day after day, he sat on the corner, bowl in hand, as cars passed without slowing down. People crossed the road just to avoid him. Children laughed, and grown men whispered cruel words. His dark skin was not just his identity, it became the excuse for society's scorn. Samuel's son, Daniel, only 12 years old, was his reason to endure. Even on the hungriest nights, Samuel whispered promises. "One day, son, life will be better." But poverty is a relentless enemy, and racism a shadow that followed them everywhere. When Daniel fell ill, Samuel begged for help. Hospitals turned him away, demanding fees he could never afford. Neighbors shut their doors. And one cold morning, Samuel's world collapsed. Daniel took his final breath in his father's trembling arms. That day, Samuel didn't just lose his son. He lost his last reason to sit quietly in the corner. Grief turned into fire. His mourning became his fuel. He swore that no man, no system, no prejudice would bury his son's memory in silence. He started collecting discarded newspapers, old books, and anything he could get his hands on. Day after day, while others mocked, Samuel taught himself about trade, small business, and investment. He studied the markets by candlelight under a bridge, hungry but determined. He began with scraps, fixing broken shoes, selling them for coins. Then he saved. He sold second-hand clothes, repaired radios, and bought whatever small item he could trade. Each coin wasn't just money. It was a brick in the monument he was building for his son's memory. The same people who once laughed began whispering differently. "That beggar, he's still standing." His small cart turned into a stall. The stall became a tiny shop, and in time, the shop became a chain. But even as his business grew, racism followed him. Banks refused him loans, landlords denied him spaces, yet Samuel never begged again. He negotiated, he persisted, he fought. For every door slammed, he built another. Years later, Samuel stood not as a beggar, but as the owner of a company that employed hundreds, many of them men and women society had once ignored, just like him. The grand opening of his headquarters was not just a business milestone. It was justice. Samuel, dressed in a tailored black suit, walked past a crowd that once would not have looked at him in the eye. Cameras flashed, reporters shouted his name. The man who had been invisible was now a symbol of resilience. As he cut the ribbon, he paused. His hand shook, not from fear, but from memory. In that moment, he saw his son's face, Daniel's laughter, his hunger, his final breath. Tears filled his eyes as he whispered under his breath, "This is for you, my son." The applause thundered, but Samuel didn't hear the noise. He only heard his son. The beggar mocked for being black had risen higher than anyone imagined, and the world could no longer deny him. Samuel's story is more than rags to riches. It is the reminder that beneath every face society ignores lies a story of unimaginable strength. He never forgot the hunger. He never forgot the humiliation. Most of all, he never forgot Daniel. Every school he funded, every hospital bill he paid for another struggling child was a promise kept to his son's memory. But the truth is harsh. Samuel's suffering was not just poverty, it was racism, a system that denied him dignity until he forced the world to see him. He rose, yes, he triumphed, but his story asks us a question. How many Samuels are still out there? How many children must be lost before the world opens its eyes? The beggar they mocked for being black is gone. The millionaire remains. But behind his success is a truth we cannot ignore. Racism destroys lives until resilience turns the pain into fire.